You are listening to the Putting Heads on Beds podcast, episode 3.
Welcome to the Putting Heads on Beds podcast, where through education, inspiration, and motivation, we help you to boost bookings and transform your business. And now, your host, Stephanie Thomas.
Hi everyone, it's Stephanie here and welcome to another episode of Putting Heads on Beds. Now, I've got a lot that I want to share with you in this episode, so I'm going to dive straight in. Today, we're going to be talking about a very well-known marketing model that I use in my businesses and I teach my clients to use in theirs. It really is the most powerful marketing process I know, and it's called the sales funnel. I'm going to be sharing with you 4 clearly defined and time-tested stages to increasing bookings. Business owners all over the world are using these 4 simple steps to build thriving businesses, and we're going to look at how you can apply this in your business too. We're also going to be looking at what the top successful accommodation providers do to focus on boosting their bookings without having to reduce rates. And then finally, we're going to look at how to simplify all your marketing efforts, and I'm going to start showing you the secrets to smart marketing. This episode is about laying strong foundations on which you can build a successful business, and I want to give you a really good grounding to work from. Now, as always, I want to add value to this episode by giving you a powerful freebie. And I've put together a guide that will help you to understand everything that I'm going to share with you today. Creating a sales funnel that converts details the sales funnel that I'm going to share with you in picture format, which might help you to understand things further. And I've also put together a checklist for you to work through to help you implement this powerful business model in your business. So to download your free copy of that guide, just head over to puttingheadsonbeds.com/003 download and you can get it there. Now, before I dive deep into how the sales funnel works, what I want to do is to try and help simplify things for you a little bit and give you something to compare the process to. And actually, you already know quite a bit about how a sales funnel works. I want you to think back to a time when you had a successful and enjoyable dating experience. Yes, dating. What's that got to do with marketing and the sales funnel? I can hear you shouting at me. Well, just bear with me and listen in. You'll be surprised at how dating is very, very similar to marketing. Now, it might have been some years since you've been on the dating scene, or you might have been lucky and you've had a hot date just this week. But whenever you last had a good dating experience, I want you to think about that now. Do you have one in mind? Got one? Good. Now, I want you to think about how you first met that person and what the circumstances were when you first exchanged telephone numbers or email addresses. What led to that first date? How many telephone conversations or emails did it take before you agreed to go out on your first date? And if that first date was the first of many, or even the start of a long and happy relationship, how many dates or how many months did you actually go out with that person before you made a commitment to them? Why do I want you to think about all this? Well, because your marketing experience is going to be something very similar to your dating experience. When it comes to personal relationships, it's very unlikely that someone's going to get down on their knees and propose marriage the very first time they meet. And it's just as unlikely that someone will come across your establishment and immediately think, I want to make a booking. In marketing, like in dating, you have to build a relationship with that potential guest first, and they need to discover as much about you as they can before they will make any sort of commitment. When you date someone, it's all about building the relationship, and it is exactly the same when it comes to marketing. Smart marketing is all about developing a relationship with your prospective and existing guests and building that relationship over time. Smart marketing is about getting people to know, like and trust you, and it really is one of the simplest ways to grow a thriving business. When you have a great reputation and a brilliant relationship with your audience, then most of the marketing actually happens automatically. So I just want you to get a little bit of a comparison that, marketing will not happen overnight. Like dating, it takes time before somebody is ready to make a commitment. So if you're still a little bit confused, don't panic, because what I'm going to do now is start diving deeper into the sales funnel and explain things in a little bit more detail. So the sales funnel is defined by 4 core stages: prospects, leads, guests, and returning guests. And your primary goal with your sales funnel is to move people from one stage to another until they are ready to book. And in this episode, I want to explain how to create a sales funnel in your business and briefly overview each stage with you. From the first time someone hears about you until the moment that they decide to book, they pass through the different stages of your sales funnel. This journey might differ from one person to the next. It depends on your guest avatar, your niche market, and your offering. So you can design your sales funnel with as many stages as you want. But in general, there are 4 main stages that you need to pay attention to, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. So the first stage in the sales funnel is where strangers become prospects. It's where they first learn about you. So your prospects are all your ideal guests who are out there in that huge, big, wide world, but at the moment, they don't even know that you exist. So your job is to go out there in front of all those strangers, grab their attention, and make them aware of what you offer. And your job at this stage is to drive them to your website. So that's the first stage, when strangers become prospects. The second stage of your sales funnel is where prospects then become warm leads. And when the magical moment happens and a prospect finds you and connects with you, then they move into this second stage, which is when they become a lead. A lead is someone who's basically raising their hand and saying, yes, I'm interested in coming to stay. I'm interested in what you have to offer. Once you've grabbed the attention of all those prospects through all your marketing efforts, all your marketing pillars, and you've encouraged them to land on your website, you need them to indicate their interest. And you need to do that in one of 2 ways. Firstly, either to actually make an inquiry. That might be by phone or by email. Or secondly, to give you their details online in exchange for further information. And this is called an opt-in. And once they do either of those 2 things, they change from being a prospect into being a lead. The third stage of the sales funnel is where you convert all those leads into actual guests. This is where you start turning everyone into paying guests and you start taking the bookings. Now this step you'll also hear as sales conversion or lead conversions. And this is really when they become a hot date. They find out a little bit more about you through either an email or telephone conversation, and they've decided that they're ready to commit to a date. They're ready to make a booking. And the fourth and final stage of the sales funnel is where those guests become returning guests. It's where they turn into loyal customers. This is where the dates turn into long-term relationships. Now, I know you might find my comparing marketing to dating a little funny, but I really do find it the simplest way to explain the sales funnel. So if you want a thriving business, then all of your marketing needs to be focused on those 4 stages of the sales funnel. And all you need to do is constantly improve each stage. Now, if you're having problems trying to envision this, then don't forget I've demonstrated the sales funnel further in my freebie. So grab your copy at puttingheadsonbeds.com/003 download. This is the heart of all smart marketing. And what you need to focus all your marketing efforts on is improving these 4 stages. The sales funnel is a marketing process that's called direct response marketing. Large companies, large hotel groups or corporations, they don't really do direct response marketing. These companies build a big brand instead and an identity because, to be honest with you, they've got the money to do that. However, for independent accommodation providers, direct response marketing is just perfect, and it actually gives you a huge advantage over the big boys because you can build a real relationship with your potential and existing guests, which is something that they find very difficult to do. One of the best things about direct response marketing is that it really does what it says on the tin. You can actually test the response of people. You can see what marketing people respond to and what they don't. You can look at every action that you do and see if it creates a direct response from your ideal guests. If it doesn't, then you can improve your marketing efforts until it does. Believe me, when you learn how to do this, it will prevent you from wasting so much money, from throwing so much money down the drain, and it is going to seriously help you to build a thriving business. So let's go even deeper. I want to take you into those 4 stages in more detail so you can understand this even further and also look at what you need to do in each stage. Let's look at the first stage, prospects. As I've said, this is where you grab the attention of strangers and they become prospects. But what are prospects? Well, they're your ideal guests. They're out there, as I've said, in that big wide world, but they just don't know about you yet. So your objective at this stage is to be seen by your ideal guests. It is simply a visibility issue here. Other names that you'll hear this stage called is driving traffic. You'll have heard that. Awareness, visibility, because it's all about how you are going to get seen. So how do you do it? Well, obviously through all your marketing. This really is marketing in the classic sense. It's getting out there and getting seen by people. And you need to do that through all of your different marketing pillars. And your marketing pillars should include things like word of mouth recommendations, adverts, whether they're online or in brochures, tourist guides, direct mail marketing, press releases, PR, pay-per-click advertising, Google AdWords, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, through your website. You know, that is the biggest place you market your business. Through blogs, all your different social media marketing activities, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the dozens and dozens of ways in which you can be seen by strangers out there who basically want to meet you and connect. But what happens once they've become aware of you? They found you, whether that's through your social media posts, whether that was an advert they've seen in a guide. What happens next? Well, the next thing is we want to move them into stage 2, where they become a lead. And that's when they give us their contact details in exchange for information. Now, it might be something very simple, like they actually pick up the phone or they email you and ask for availability and prices. That's in the very simplest form. But as I've already said, you know, they're not going to dive straight in. A lot of people are just sussing you out at the moment. They've seen your website. They're looking at what you offer. But at the minute, they're not quite ready to make that next step. And what you need to do is actually offer them something irresistible enough that will make them hand over their personal information without even thinking about it. Now, that could be a free guide on the top places to eat out, or a what's on guide. It could be a discount voucher so they could get a saving on a stay, or it could be your regular e-newsletter. Whatever it is, when they give you their details in exchange for that gift, that's when the prospect turns into a lead. So your objective in this stage is to get their contact details. It's to get them to raise their hand and go, I'm quite interested in what you offer. Maybe I'm quite interested in your location. And I want to learn a bit more. And then I might want to book with you, but they're not ready yet. You will often hear this stage called lead generation or list building or opting in. And your objective, as I say, is to get their details, because you need to build your list so that we can market to them further. So let me help you recap here. You've gone out and you've done your marketing and you've grabbed the attention of people. You've driven them to your website or to make contact with you, and you've got them to give you their email address. Whatever carrot you have dangled in front of them, you have got them to give you their details. And then the next step is to get them into stage 3, which is when they become a guest. You want them to make a booking. And how do you do this? Well, this is where the real marketing starts to happen. The marketing where you need to persuade them very gently to make a booking with you. Your objective here is to prove to those leads that you offer a fantastic place to stay, and basically they'd be mad if they didn't book with you. You'll hear this called sales or lead conversion. And this is where the relationship building starts. Okay, this is where you need to build a relationship with all those leads, engage with them, promote your business to them, and you do this by providing great content and lots of free information. Now, don't panic. This isn't as complicated as it sounds, and it's really quite easy when you know how. Basically, this is where you need to keep in touch, stay within their radar. And you can do that by just sending a sort of a one-off email occasionally, sending a postcard, sending them a letter. But to be honest with you, the best and most powerful way of keeping in touch is with a regular email newsletter. You know, a regular newsletter keeps you in your potential guest radar in a way that is really not heavy. You're building trust and a relationship with them while subtly yet constantly reminding them all about your place and why they should come and stay. You can provide great content in a newsletter. You can engage with the reader and promote your establishment to them. And you do this in a way that is selling without being salesy. This is not about selling 100% of the time. It's about building a relationship. This is the dating element. This is about them getting to know you, getting to trust you, getting to like you. So we move them on then to becoming eventually a guest. Now, another really powerful way of keeping in touch is through autoresponder series. And they're a set of sort of preset or pre-programmed sequence of emails. And you can set them up using your email marketing service such as MailChimp or any of the other services out there. And I will be going into this in a later episode. What happens basically is someone will opt in, so they will sign up to your free guide or your discount voucher or your newsletter, and then they're automatically sent a sequence of emails on different days over a period of time, and this builds your relationship with them further. But basically, what happens when you keep in touch with your leads, however you do it, is you start building a relationship with that person. You start moving them into that taking action stage, the making the booking. You start persuading them to become a guest. You need to get them to know, like and trust you over that time. And in marketing, there is, well, they call it a 7-to-1 rule. But to be honest with you, I would say it's more like a 14-to-1 rule. And what this rule is that definitely most people will not book on their first contact with you. And what actually happens is they need to hear your marketing message several times, actually about 14 times from all the stats now that are out there and from my own personal experience, because obviously I do this, so I measure my own stats here. You need to touch them with your marketing message at least 14 times. So you need to be in front of them 14 times before they actually will make a booking. And basically, the more you touch the reader with your marketing message, the better your chances are that they'll make the booking. So it's a really, really important part of the sales funnel. You know, you've got these people, they've given you their email address, you've got them into that sales funnel, but it does not mean that they're ready to make a booking. And what you've got to do is just keep going, hello, here we are. Hello, this is how good we are. Hello, this is what other people say about us. Hello, look at all the things you can do in this area. And you just have to keep drip feeding this to them. And every time they get something from you, they'll be digesting it. You'll be creating more desire. You'll be moving them slowly down the next stage of the funnel to becoming a guest. So, let's say the marketing's worked and then they become a guest. But your relationship doesn't end once they've stayed with you. This is a big mistake that most accommodation providers make. Basically, they think once they've stayed, that's it. They know about us now. But there is still work to do here. You need to move them into the final stage of that sales funnel. You need to turn them into returning guests. You want to turn them into loyal fans that book with you again and tell everybody about you. This stage is also called repeat business or repeat bookings, something we all need to build a thriving business. Now, obviously, in order to get them to become repeat bookings, you have to have exceeded their expectations during their stay with you. But if you've done that successfully, then you need to convert them into loyal guests. But how do you do that? Well, you just need to keep in touch with them. You need to keep in touch with them regularly, and you need to keep very gently marketing to them. You have to do the same things that you actually did originally to convert them from a lead into a guest. So it still continues. I've got people on my list that have been on there for years and years. I'm in my 7th year of business now, and I've got people that subscribed to my email list years ago, and they keep buying from me again and again because all I do is just keep reminding them that I'm here. And the same applied when I was a B&B owner. Keeping in touch with our guests seriously increased our repeat business. And I mean seriously. It was the reason people came back again and again. Yes, we had created a fantastic experience for them whilst they stayed with us. And yes, they had great memories of their stay, but everybody's busy and they would have soon forgotten about us. They go back home, they would have got engrossed again in work and family life and running the home and doing the shopping and the laundry and feeding the dog and cutting the grass. Everybody is busy. But by keeping in touch with them, we kept bringing those memories back. We highlighted the things that they might not have seen or done during their stay because they just didn't have enough time. Seriously, my regular communications were the reason people came back and stayed again and again and again. It played a huge part in making most of our business repeat business. You have to remember that it is not your guest's job to remember to book with you. It is your job to remind them that you're still there. But you mustn't do this through just selling. It's about building the relationship and keeping that going. So hopefully I've helped you to understand the 4 key stages of the sales funnel. You've got prospects. They're the people who are out there in that big wide world who you need to get in front of and go, hello, look at us, we're fantastic. Come and find out more. You're going to drive them to your website through your marketing. You're going to either encourage them to pick up the phone or email you to make an inquiry, or to actually give you their email in exchange for something of value. Whatever way, it's about getting their email address. And once you've got that and they go into your email list, then it's about keeping in touch because, as I say, so often, more often than not, they're not ready to book with you yet. They're just making initial inquiries. They want to compare you to other places. They want to have choice. So they're doing the research. But your job is to get that email so you can then keep in touch with them. You know, so many times I see accommodation providers never, ever, ever get people from the stage of being just a prospect to actually being a lead. And they have lost that person. Because they'll come and look at their website, they've done all the marketing work to get them there, they've put all that effort and money into driving that traffic, and they land on their website, they have a quick look and they're gone. Bye. Wave to them, because you won't see them again, because they'll forget who you were. They're looking probably at 10, 15 websites, and then they'll go, there was that nice place, but I can't remember what it was called now. They can't find you. So your job is to convert them into a lead, to get that email address from them, whatever carrot you have to dangle. And then your job is to keep in touch with them. Subliminal selling, letting them know how good you are, letting them know what's on offer, letting them know what other people say about you. Doing that very gentle nurturing, convincing them to make the booking and move into the next stage of being a guest. And then your job is, once they've gone home, to keep in touch with them, to keep that relationship going so they move into the final stage of becoming a repeat guest. And ideally a repeat guest that comes again and again. A repeat guest that tells everybody about you. I mean, you know how it works. If they come again, they'll be saying to their colleagues and their families and their friends, oh yes, we're going there. We're going to Bramble House again because we love it there. It's brilliant. That is creating marketing, word of mouth marketing for you. So before we start to wrap things up, hopefully I've helped you to see those 4 steps. But what I want to do is to help you actually implement it within your business. So I want to give you some action steps to implement over the next couple of weeks. Firstly, I want you to do one small thing that will get more people into the first stage of your sales funnel. One small thing that will help you get your business seen by more prospects. I want you to identify the top way you're currently driving traffic to your website or becoming visible. And when you've identified that, I want you to see if you can step things up a bit there and just do a little bit more of that one thing. You know, you need to maximize the best way you find your guests. And so I want you to just focus on your most successful marketing pillar and see if you can increase that just a little bit more. Just put a little bit more energy into that one pillar, because then even more people will be seeing you. And then my next action step is I want you to do one small thing that will help turn those prospects actually into leads, one thing to get them into that next stage of the sales funnel. Think about just one way that you could improve the number of people who give you their contact details, either when visiting your website or when calling you. I want you to focus on increasing the percentage of people who convert from a prospect into a lead, who move from basically being a stranger to a friend. What is the free irresistible offer that you're giving away in exchange for their information? Is there something else you could offer that would help prospects turn into leads more quickly? Just think about a simple small step that you can take to improve the number of people that opt in, that give you their email. You know, if you have got an opt-in, and I do hope you have, I hope you've got lots of them, maybe it's time to change the headline in that sign-up box, or even change what you're offering the free gift if you've been offering a free eating out guide. Put something else together, dangle another carrot. Maybe it's just something as simple as looking at where the opt-in box is actually located throughout your website. Maybe you need to change the position. And you need to just make some little tweaks and start testing the response. See if you can get more people to opt in, more people to give their email address. Just a slight little increase. Now, if you don't have an opt-in box on your website, then you need to get it organised straight away. And I mean straight away if you want to build a thriving business. And your website designer can do this, but basically it's creating an opt-in where you're offering something and somebody puts their name and email in exchange for this. Now, I am going to be doing a couple of episodes around opt-in boxes and lead magnets a little later on because it is so important. But at this stage, we're just talking about the overall sales funnel. So I don't want to dive too deep into it now. But speak to your web designer. They will know how to do this. Put together a simple lead magnet, a simple 50 things to do in your area, great places to eat out, hidden treasures of your location, and put that as an offer in exchange for their email. Okay? So, I need you to do a little bit more to get in front of people, and I need you to do a little bit more, one little step, pushing forward to get people to give you their email addresses. And then thirdly, I want you to do one small thing that would turn leads into guests. What small change could you make to improve your booking conversions? Do you need to work on your sales copy a little bit? You know, when somebody makes an inquiry, what are you sending back to them? Is it just a boring email that says, yes, we've got a king size room available and the price is £90 a night? Or are you making it a little bit more creative than that? Are you creating that bit of desire? Are you actually marketing that room? Because even when you're doing an inquiry response, you are still marketing. So always make sure your inquiry responses really are doing the trick. So it might be that you need to just look at that and tweak it and make it better. When's the last time you sent out an email promotion? Maybe it's time to do that. Create a new special offer and get that email out there to everybody. That's all it might take, one email. You don't need to do massive things just to increase your bookings. You know, there's lots of little things you can do. When's the last time you actually followed up an inquiry? Somebody's made the inquiry, you've given them the price, you've got their details. When's the last time you actually left it a day or two and then just phoned up and said, oh, I wondered if you were still looking for somewhere? Is there anything else I can help you with? Because that will make you stand out compared to all your competitors who probably never follow up. So I just want you to do one small thing that could get you a few more bookings. And then finally, I want you to do one small thing that will move guests, people who've already stayed with you, into that final stage of coming back again, becoming a repeat guest. When's the last time you actually engaged with the people who've stayed with you before? Maybe you could just build your relationship with them a little bit more. Send them a postcard. Drop them a note, a letter. Pick up the phone and say, hello, how are you? Send them an exclusive offer that's just for existing guests. But with offers, don't forget, make them time limited and make it a good offer. I promise you that successful accommodation owners who have been in business a long time and who have very advanced marketing skills focus all their energy on these 4 steps, these 4 stages. They focus on getting seen by more prospects. They focus on increasing those prospects into leads. They focus on increasing the conversion of those leads into bookings. And then they focus on how they can get those people to come back and stay again. Now, this is a bit about testing and tracking what works and what doesn't and improving on that and building on it and getting it right and tweaking and developing it. But this is the heart of smart marketing. If you start this now, it will seriously pay off. If you can make one little improvement in one stage, you will be amazed how much your income can increase when you put your energy and effort into some simple little changes. That brings us to the end of this episode. Please don't forget you can download my free guide, Creating a Sales Funnel That Converts, at puttingheadsonbeds.com/003 download. That will help you, I think, visually to understand the 4 stages a little bit more. So make sure you grab that today. And of course, and I think there probably will be some questions from this. If you've got any questions, head over to my private Facebook group, creatingbookingscommunity.com. If you haven't joined yet, then join the group, but post your questions there. I will be in there and I will try to help you as much as I can. So it's time for me to sign off. I look forward to talking to you again in 2 weeks' time. But in the meantime, start implementing that sales funnel in your business. Have a great couple of weeks. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
And that's a wrap for this week's show. Thanks for listening to the Putting Heads on Beds podcast. Make sure you visit us at creatingbookings.com.